So what is knowledge? This is not an easy question to answer, and it's pretty complicated, but let's get into it. So knowledge I would define as information in memory. And of course there are different types of memory. So we have procedural memory, skills and actions, which is how to walk, how to drive, how to ride a bike. We have episodic memory, which is personal experience, first day at school, first memories. We have semantic memory, which is factual knowledge, date of birth, when World War II started and ended, who the leader of your countries were and are. We have conditioned memory, which are things like phobias and anxiety of things. We have instinctual memory, which is unconscious memories of good and bad behavior, danger, food, etc. There are also things that don't neatly fit into one category. For example, with language. Language is semantic memory, vocabulary and rules. Often these are internalized and you never have to think about them if it's your native language. Procedural memory, how to speak and move your mouth. And episodic memory, conversations you've had in the past. Generally we understand from context which meaning we are talking about, but it does muddy the waters a little bit. For example, do you know what happened? About facts. Do you know how to drive? It's about skills. Do you know what happened on your first day of school? It's about a past event. The other two are unconscious and we normally don't ask about that. So as this word has a few meanings, there is a potential for equivocation, where you mix definitions of a word. So we should specify which one we're using, but usually it's obvious from context. In most situations when we talk about knowledge, it's about facts about the world. So that's an explanation of what knowledge is, but what is belief? Belief is generally accepted as accepting something as true. But many philosophers debate about the specifics. So are they conscious or unconscious? Are they binary or a spectrum? Are they chosen or automatic? For simplicity, we'll simply just treat belief as the acceptance of something as true. You have classical knowledge, where you have the information in memory and you accept it. You have denial, where you have the information in memory but reject it. We have faith, where you don't have the information in memory but believe it anyway. And then we have not knowing, which is where you neither have the information nor believe. So let's use an example to demonstrate. So imagine a plane goes missing over an ocean, and we don't really know what happened yet. It could have crashed into the ocean, it could have crash landed on a desert island and be okay, we don't know. So some people could say, I don't know what happened to the plane, which is a logical conclusion. They don't have the information, so they don't have a belief. But other people, say like family members, could say, for example, I believe my son is okay. So they don't have the information, but they have the belief. This is called faith. This is usually a very useful coping mechanism for difficult situations. So later we find the plane, and the worst has happened, there are no survivors. So some people will have the information in memory and accept it. This is classical knowledge. And others could have the information in memory, see what happened, but reject it. And this is denial. So I'm not saying that denial and faith aren't useful sometimes and are bad things. Of course they're not. Denial is considered the first stage of grief, and it's very normal. And faith can be useful for getting people through difficult times as well. However, you can't claim it's the same as having classical knowledge. So let's look more into classical knowledge. So this is where you have the knowledge in memory and you also believe it. It's not as simple as that though. Knowledge isn't just about facts, it's also about the explanations you have for those facts. A dog can understand that a ball will bounce when it drops, but they don't have the understanding of how that mechanism works, they simply just remember. Let's compare some people's knowledge of a ball falling when dropped. So person A knows the ball falls, but doesn't know why it happened. Person B knows the ball falls, but believes it's because the earth constantly moves upwards towards everything. Person C knows the ball falls, but simply repeats what his physics teacher tells him without understanding it. And person D knows the ball falls and understands the scientific explanation for why it happens. So in every situation, they all have the information that the ball falls, but can we consider them the same type of knowledge? Probably not. Knowledge isn't just simply knowing facts, but also the explanations as well. Another problem is that our scientific explanation for things changes over time. It's not constant. If someone claims they don't know why things fall 2,000 years ago, then they're being honest and scientific for the time. However, if someone today says they don't know why things fall, they are not considered knowledgeable because our understanding is more advanced. There's also the problem of things that were considered correct in the past but are now incorrect today. Doctors 500 years ago would give people leeches to cure illness. This is because it was thought that blood levels needed to be regulated. This is now proven to be incorrect. However, can we still say these doctors didn't have this knowledge? It's an impossible standard to hold people to have people know every future scientific explanation. The only fair way to judge people's knowledge is based on the time they were alive. So if someone claims that leeches were useful for illnesses 500 years ago, it's okay. If someone claims the same thing today, it's very different. So knowledge is a combination of information stored in memory, subjective acceptance of that information, explanations of that information also stored in memory, and we judge people's knowledge based on the information available at the time. So this is quite a complicated topic. I'll cover things like truth and certainty in future videos. But what do you think about knowledge? Do you disagree with anything I've said in this video? And thanks for watching.